Well, I really didn't want to have to talk about this, but it seems like there's no escape. And it's really obnoxious. I don't know about you. I'm tired of this subject. Maybe you're tired of this subject. But it's all just terrible. So, hello. My name is Ian Kirkpatrick. I am an author, robot. I'm tired. Somebody get me a new battery. And today we're talking about trouble in the literary agency because of the drama. You know the drama, centralized drama, golden coffin drama from Minneapolis. I'm not going to rehash all of the information because all we really need to be looking at is the effects that are happening across the globe, across the country, in communities, and ruining people's lives because this is a power grab. That's all that it is. Stick with me. Maybe you're going to be pissed off. I don't really care at this point. Literary agents gets canceled, fires her whole staff. So it's not even just like a member of the literary agency. It is the person who started the literary agency. Let's see what happened here. It's a short article, but then we're going to talk a little bit. Literary Twitter has responded in all manners of ways to the death of George Floyd and to the subsequent nationwide outrage. Anti-racist book lists abound. Black-owned bookstores get great press, and popular people to call out the publishing industry for racism. Most recent is Marissa Corvisiero, founder and agent at the Corvisiero Literary Agency, in New York City-based boutique agency whose clients include Maze Runner author James Dashner, whose publisher Penguin Random House dropped in 2018 over allegations of sexual misconduct. I'm so sick of cancel culture. Make your point, take a stand, and don't hurt other people or damage properties in the process, said Corvisiero to yesterday in a now-deleted tweet. No violence is acceptable ever. The whole point is to be heard and seen to help make things better, end quote. That seems like a very reasonable message to have. The whole thing sparked because of violence. Theoretically, that's what we're told. But when you say don't use violence in response, apparently that's enough to get you canceled. So I'm very confused about the MO here, the background. What is it people want? It just sounds like a lot of terrorism to me. In response to the statement and the agency's representation of Dashner, which was allegations, I don't know anything about the Dashner stuff, but allegations are not convictions. And even then, you're publishing books for the stories, not because you endorse somebody. I've already talked about this in previous videos before. But if you get into the habit, and I think I did this with the Woody Allen video. If you get in the state of mind where you're only publishing people because you agree with them ideologically completely, then that means that I have to hold that standard to you for every single person that you publish. So if I find somebody with, some kind of thing in their past, well, that means that you agree with it because you've determined that that is the methodology you use in order to choose who you're publishing. It's not an area you want to get into, really. And it's also why I think publishers are failing right now. Agents are failing right now because they're ideologically choosing and not choosing for story. I wonder why people are reading fewer books. In response to the statement and to the agency's representation of Dashner, many members of Corvisiero's staff resigned this week because apparently they're all pro-violence, I guess. And if things ended there, this wouldn't be news. Instead, Corvisiero doubled down by firing her remaining staffers. Quote, given the negative attention my tweet yesterday about protesting peacefully has garnered, I think that it is better if we all part ways, she said in a leaked email to her remaining staff. I have owned up to my comments and clarified my position as well as apologized for its incorrectness. But in today's atmosphere, that is not enough. I don't want you all to get caught in the crossfires, end quote. You never apologize to these people. Look, you're apologizing for saying violence isn't the answer. You're apologizing for saying have your voice be heard, but do it peacefully. And apparently that's not the correct thing. And she should know this. Everybody should know this. Apology will never get you forgiveness. They will never accept you back. It is just a way to get you on your knees. And in a way, a lot of these people take your apology as you're admitting that you did something wrong. It's not the way to go. I would even say that because this email was leaked, these these other staffers didn't have any respect for Maria. Because if they had, they would have kept the information within. You don't have respect for somebody when you're leaking business emails. I'm sorry. You don't. And I would ask Maria, what exactly is she sorry for doing? What is she exactly sorry for saying? I want something very specific. What exactly did she do wrong? You know, when I was a kid, I was taught when I apologize to be very specific about what I'm apologizing for so that it acknowledges that I know what was wrong. And really, if in me asking what she's sorry for, I want to know if she actually thinks that saying violence isn't the answer was wrong. Or if this is her saying, please, please don't hurt me, don't hurt me. I want to work in this job, because she's surrounded by a bunch of terrorists. We know these are terrorists because they're all using violence and threat to get their way. Quote, I left Corvaciro as of Monday prior to the news below because I didn't agree with Marissa's representations of Dashner. After the ordeal mentioned below in the leaked email, it only solidified my feelings, said agent Tara Gilbert in a tweet. The former staffer has also responded to the authors they represented in a joint statement linked here. You can view all of this in the description down below. I'll leave a link. This right here is an asshole. She's done her staff a favor, frankly, though. I hope they do sue the shit out of her for wrongful termination, she said N.K. Jemison in a tweet. May her clients find better agents ASAP. See, look, they don't care that you apologized. They want you to suffer as much as possible. And Marissa here even said that she released her people because she didn't want them to get caught in the crossfire and to get in trouble for sticking with her because she saw the blowback she was getting. That's a nice thing to do, but still this person, I mean, most people, if they stuck with her, they'd be like, hopefully they would be like, we're on your side, whatever, we'll go through the storm. But still, if that was why she released them or terminated them, whatever, then that was a kind thing to do because she didn't want them to get the same reputation that she is now getting. However, not good enough. She must suffer. Hope she gets sued the shit out of her while everybody moves on in their life. Why? Because she said violence wasn't the answer. These people are terrorists. These people are terrorizing. And this is not the only case. Tim Pool recently talked about this on a video.
So for now, I would just call it a cult. You know, you see that video I posted on Twitter where they're all sitting there with their hands up, mindlessly chanting? Yeah, I'll call it a cult for now, but it really is becoming something bigger than that. Let me show you how freaky everything is really getting. This tweet from Maxwell. He says, since Thursday, New York Times opinion editor resigns over fallout. Woke outrage, to say the least. Variety chief editor takes leave after staff revolt. Why, yes, because she wrote an article about diversity in newsrooms, and now she must take a serious moment of reflection. Top editor of Philadelphia Inquirer resigns after Buildings Matter headline. Refinery 29 founder Christine Barbarich steps down as editor-in-chief after accusations of racism. And the editor-in-chief of Bon Appetit, Rappaport, I don't know who this guy is also stepping down. We saw Alexis Ohanian on the board of Reddit announce he was stepping down and wanted his position to be filled by a black person. This is not about Black Lives Matter, which in and of itself is totally fine. If you look at someone like DeRay McKesson, okay, I think he's pretty all right. I don't follow everything he does, but he's put out a video recently where he was like, police reform makes sense. You know what? He's right. It does. All of us complained about George Floyd. But the intersectionalist cult found an opportunity to push their ideology through with the Trojan horse of Black Lives Matter.
And this is where we're at right now. This is how they've gotten so much power, and they're going to continue to get power because unless we start standing together against this and saying screw off, it doesn't matter. It's not your opinion. It's my opinion. I'm allowed to have it. I'm allowed to have my business. But instead, because there's such a desire in the human spirit and just people in general to need social cohesion and to need acceptance and to fit in, and then that fear of losing everything, your livelihood, your family, your job, you know, the day that these terrorists might show up to your house with a Molotov cocktail and the police can't get to you, because that's kind of what they've been proving with all of these riots, is that they can and will slow down the law enforcement in order to make it so they can damage you, so that nobody will come to help you. And so far, it's not slowing down. It's only accelerating. I don't know if you've seen this guy right here. support the Minneapolis Sanctuary Hotel. This is a Sheraton hotel in the middle of the carnage that was taken over by these people who were escaping the police and have decided, they tell you, if you read down here, they say the owners planned to evacuate so much the community would still need this with the owners' gracious support. How much of it do you think was support versus how much do you think it was threat of violence? Because how many of these other people are getting threats of violence? Or like consider with the literary agency, everybody in that because the literary agency is small and usually intimate, so everybody knows where everybody lives. How hard is it to go and spread somebody's personal information about where they live and then have people show up and attack you? What options do you think that this hotel owner had? Do you think it was, well, give us your hotel to use or we'll burn it to the ground? Honestly, it would probably be better if you just burnt it to the ground and resisted. Because if you give it over, then you can't report it to the police. You've already given them permission. Tim in that video referred to this as a cult right into it. But what makes it worse is that it is a cult that has caused so many people to either be afraid or to become a part of it that it infects every little thing. So I was recently kicked out of a small writing group that I'm in a small town that I'm in because I said that I was sick of every mega corporation on the planet giving free stuff out to people while they're claiming to be victimized. Meanwhile, white people are getting on their knees begging for forgiveness and kissing shoes. So that's what I said. And you know what happened? A couple of people in the group said that was racist. I said what I have seen. Do you want to see it? Really? So stating that I was sick of seeing this kind of thing was racist of me. The very fact that this is happening is not racist. The very fact that somebody is on their knees. In multiple places, mind you. This isn't the only place that I've seen. Oh, look. I think we got a gun violation here from different places. Julio. Let me turn. But this right here itself is not considered racist. And the fact that I even said I was sick of it was enough to oust me from an organization that I have built the website for, that I have been asked to write content for other people within the organization, that I have devoted my time to in and outside of the actual meeting times so that I could better whatever they needed. None of that was actually good enough. If you happen to say you thought this was crazy, or if you think this is crazy.
About racism, anti-blackness, or violence. I will use my voice in the most uplifting way possible. And do everything in my power to educate my community. I will love my black neighbors the same as my white ones.
And so you know what happens after an email goes out to these people that I have been serving with my time and effort and affection and respect for months? Oh, people think that you're racist and they're quitting the group rapidly. You need to apologize for this. What good does apologizing do? They're not going to welcome me back no matter what I do. They already think I'm a villain. And if it's enough to make you oust me for saying I am sick of seeing this kind of stuff, we were never friends. If they go, well, I respected you until you did that, there was no respect because they wouldn't just run off. Nobody that respects you is just going to run off when they hear your opinion on something. It's a knee-jerk opinion. It's a knee-jerk reaction. It's an emotional reaction, and they cannot sacrifice the fantasy they have created in their heads by listening to alternative opinions or ideas. You fall in line or you get kicked out, and this is how they keep gaining power, is because nobody is standing up against them. They're either enforcing the delusion or they're getting ejected. Look, I do a lot of reading on serial killers. Oh, look at my last video. Look at my current project. I know. And one of the things that all of the documents talk about, I have a book over there about when they were studying sexual homicide back in the 70s, when they first started studying that. And a lot of what happens with serial killers is they build in a fantasy they build a fantasy of their ideal world in their head because they don't see what they want out in real life. And the real problem starts happening once the fantasy world starts crossing over into the real world. And anybody that threatens the idealism of that fantasy world, the things that they want, must be eliminated. Because if you break that fantasy world, which they fully believe in, you threaten to break the very fabric of their reality, and they can't have that. And I know it's really hard, especially if you actually care about people. It's really hard to stand up to them and be like, no, you're out of control. This is wrong, because you want to appease people. But just know, no matter what you say, they will not respect you. Your apology, they will not respect you. They will not welcome you back. They already consider you evil. So what's the best thing you can do to them? The best thing you can do to them is be honest, because you will not win by appeasement, by apology, by surrendering your property. They'll take it whether they like you or not. So I don't know if any of you guys have seen this image, this new flag that is making the rounds with these people. It is the Black Power fist, or the Communist fist, however you'd like to look at it, but it is a controlling fist every time you look at it, strangling the Gadsden snake, and it says, "We will tread." Now, what exactly is this flag saying? So the Gadsden flag specifically stands for people who say, I'm going to do my own thing, live and let live. You know, a rattlesnake warns you that if you get closer, if you endanger it, it's going to attack you. That's what the rattling is for. And so the Gadsden flag says, you know, don't tread on me. I live my life. You live yours to the best of our abilities without stepping on anybody's rights, and we're good. So when you say we will tread while you're strangling the snake, you're saying we don't care about your rights. You are not going to live how you want to live. You're going to live how we want you to live, or we're going to kill you. And that is how this game is being played. And I know that it sucks. I have gone through mostly a lot of phases of anger with this local group. Even up until this moment, I felt like I was being used by the group leader because he was constantly asking me for free stuff, for free work. He wanted me to build him an app after I built the website without offering anything in return. He didn't respect me as an author because he never considered my opinions as an author, and I never felt like I was part of the group. I was just somebody to do the work that he wanted done in order to build his organization. And it's a sham. And the worst part about it is he, after almost every group, he would stand in the street with me and mutter to me and rant at me about how he thought Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and Maxine Waters were all demonic. He would talk to me about how he thought COVID and the COVID lockdown was so demonic and so there to just break people and so wrong, and it was all just so evil. But you know what happened when I said white people shouldn't be getting on their knees begging for forgiveness and kissing shoes? Oh, he called real quick to say, you need to apologize for that. Huh. Funny who's falling for the demonic stuff now, isn't it? This demand for control, God doesn't even demand for this level of control over people, and it's scary, and it's disturbing, and the only way they have power is if we keep letting them have power. If you hand over your personal property, if you don't speak out when they are stepping on you, if you give in because you're afraid of what they're going to do to you. There's nothing wrong with saying violence is not the answer. There is nothing with saying violence and threat are not the answers. There's nothing wrong with saying you shouldn't bow down to another human if this is about equality. Because one person being on their knees and kissing the boot of another is not equality. That is surrender. Everywhere. That's not what this is about. You know how many black people have died during the riots now? If there was a blood toll, if there was a blood debt, it's been paid by now, tenfold. This isn't about equality. This is a Trojan horse for some demonic, evil regime change by communists, and it needs to stop. Just to end on a little bit of a funny note. So there was Chaz over there in Seattle. That's the area. Chaz is the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, which was the area a couple of wannabe communists have taken over, the couple of blocks, and have decided to make their little new town to express their communism in, with no police and no nothing. And it turns out they can't handle not having police, and they're even more brutal than the police. So, for anybody who lets this spread, note that this is what's coming to you if you let these people take over. The policing in Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone by Raz Simone. There appear to be no body cameras, reports, or oversight and accountability. This is an attempt to de-escalate a spray painting onto a building, which resulted in alleged assault. So if you click on this video, you see a couple people arguing with each other as somebody is spray painting on the wall. The dude spray painting on the wall obviously has no respect for the guy who's saying, I'm going to, we don't have police here, so I'm going to be doing the policing around here. Kind of funny that, where, get rid of the police, but then I'm going to be the police. And it is later said the assault, it is unknown who recorded the video, but the person recording later justifies becoming physical with an individual spray painting because they were disrespectful. Now, how much disrespect has the police gone through in the last couple of weeks especially, but in general, where they did not act aggressively? Now, I'm not saying every police officer is innocent, but every police officer is also not a pig. For the majority of police officers, they are great and heroic people, and we should be looking for the bad apples in the bunch, while uplifting those who are heroes, who do serve their communities, who do love their communities, and who do want to do right for their communities. But just how funny is it that these people claiming we need to defund the police because of police brutality, their first response is to aggressively assault somebody because they were disrespectful?
Assholes.
Unbelievable.
Get your hands off me, bro.
Hey, yo, kid.
Hey, yo, hey, hey, bro. Hey, you gonna buck up on her, nigga? Chill. You gonna buck up on her? Chill. What's up, nigga? What's up? What's up? Hey, he's not trying to
Just absolutely unbelievable. But that's my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. This is a spicy topic. And obviously, even the most mild of opinions, like violence bad, is enough to get you fired from your own agency. Sorry for your loss, Marissa. Just know that I support you in your statements. You didn't need to apologize for that. And anybody else who stands against the violence, you have more allies than you think. It's all just really terrible, honestly. But let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I understand if you don't want to comment because this is such a hotbed of issues, and if we disagree on anything, well, I hope that we can still be friends. But until next time, don't die. Please. We're all just trying to get through. Maybe the second half of 2020 will be better. Please let the second half of 2020 be better. I don't think I can take any of this anymore. And just a quick aside here at the end, as I'm editing, Cops, the TV show, has been canceled. Gone with the Wind has been canceled. So it really has nothing to do with you as a person. It's all about getting in line, rewriting history, rewriting what's allowed. So you either stand up and fight for what is to be allowed, and you fight against these dictators, or we all become victim of what they decide is allowed and is not allowed, and maybe someday they'll come to your door and say that you are the evil one and not allowed to speak. I'm always going to fight on the side of freedom, and I hope to see you there. Oh, let's not forget Paw Patrol. They got to take down Paw Patrol because of that poor little German Shepherd police dog. Absolutely evil, according to these people. I wonder who really are the types of persons that see all cops as the bad guys. Would it happen to be the people that cops usually stop? Really makes you think.